This is We All Be, news-free Dixie for the 21st century. See how it works? Somewhere. Can you dig it?
And so just want you to know. Man, I looked at that smile on your face just now. And the first time I ever wished I was a photographer to take that picture and let the world see that honesty and that integrity. And know some of the things I know, how you drive all over the country to chase us down. Chase us down. Okay? We move so fast. I don't know if you're married. I don't know if you're a family. I don't know if you're a wife. Okay? But when we get on here, we bosom friends. Anytime I see you, I stop whatever I'm doing. Hey, my man, how are you? Hey. Hey, man, what, that's, I owe that to you. It's an obligation that you have. How old are you?
Oh, 36.
So you don't have the right to do what 36 people do. You don't have the right to go to the dance or go to the party. You don't have a right to take that trip to Europe when I might need that plane fare to fly somebody else to feed my people that love me. Mm-hmm. You feed them. Oh, it's one thing being hungry from food. Right. There's another thing being hungry for information.
That's right.
And that's you, the feeder. You got to be the farmer. You got to grow the crop. Huh? You got to till the grain. And at nighttime, when you hear something that sounds like water, you got to go see if the crop's going to be flooded. That's your job, man.
Hey, everybody, this is Brother Ron. I am asking you all to do me a big favor. Think about supporting the We All Be movement. Your donation is tax deductible. The We All Be Group Incorporated is a recognized 501c3. And I'm just asking you all because I want to keep on bringing y'all quality work through the way that I know how to do best. And I'm going to sing my praises and toot my horn. A lot of y'all were not hip to Dick Gregory until Brother Ron brought him on the We All Be platform, until that Django review we did. Y'all seen another side of Judge Joe Brown, and Judge Joe Brown's message has been amplified. But it was We All Be that brought Judge Joe Brown to y'all back in 2014, and so many others. And we covered so many things. So help us out so we can help you all. Peace. And they are not like us. And we are still we, because we all be in it to win it. Hey, family, this is Brother Ron coming to you from We All Be Land. This is We All Be Land. And it's going to be a great show today or tonight or whenever you are listening to it. Because whenever the time it is that you're listening to this show, it's the right time. Regardless when I record this show, the show is meant to reach who is supposed to reach. Like Baba Dick Gregory anointed me to feed us. So I'm gonna feed you. I'm gonna feed you something of substance. Sometimes it may take a while. I might be doing my little Kendrick Lamar thing where I'm like in this other headspace and take a little minute to respond. But when I respond, you best believe you should listen. And I got a lot to offer. And you all got a lot to offer. And now's the time to not be silent about it. Now's the time to do it well, or to the best of your abilities. Because, people, a lot of times I know people are struggling through a lot of things right now. I have met some people over the last several days who's going through it. But if you're going through it, don't worry, no worries, because you could get through it, going through it, and you can get through it. That's very important to know. So we all be in it to win it. We're gonna be talking about the great debacle. Y'all call it the debate or whatever, or Joe Biden's swan song. Swan, not swung, swan song. But we'll see. 2024 is unpredictable. Okay. So hold on to your seats, and we're about to get into this. And y'all know, subscribe, rumble.com/, we all be TV. That's rumble.com/, we all be TV. Or if y'all still stuck on the YT plantation, I'm trying to get free. We need to be free. We all be free. We all be needing to get free. Go to our second channel on YT. That's YouTube, but I call it YT. I think that's very appropriate to call it YT. You go to youtube.com/, we all be TV too to access if you want. And we're trying to grow that backup channel and make it the main channel because all the pushback I've been getting on the original We All Be TV channel from YT. And it's very fascinating that if I'm not that influential, if I'm not that impactful, why is it that so many obstacles on social media try to stop my message from getting out? If I'm a person that's a nobody, I know good well I'm a somebody. Why all this on little old me? Now, who am I? I'm not a big platform, but yet over the last several years, there's been a lot of removing the videos, like stuff I thought would be up for posterity. Dick Gregory interviews, Judge Joe Brown interviews, Dr. Randy Short. Things about the mistreatment of Black people have been disappearing from the playlist of We All Be TV and from the archives. So I'm looking at different alternative ways to get the word out there. You heard that from Brother Heard the Word. And so it's very important to support people that advocate for people who are historically marginalized and not heard, and to amplify not only my voice, but I need a platform to help amplify other people's voices. People reach out to me through email, through text, through phone calls, demanding a lot of what they want me to do, but I'm not getting the support to do all those things. And I feel like in this day and age, we need a legitimate Black media that advocate for Black American voices. We don't have that. I'm in Memphis, Tennessee. I had an epiphany the other day. I mean, they said that Memphis is the blackest city in America, but yet we have no legitimate, strong media presence. Yeah, we have traditional historical media like the Memphis Tri-State Defender, which has been very generous to the We All Be Group Incorporated in terms of promoting our nonprofit activities. But I'm saying American First advocacy media, we are lacking at the local level here in Memphis, but also I would say the state and national levels. We don't have is it a coincidence that we don't have a strong Black media as well as strong Black leadership these days? If you go back to 60 years ago, you had Black strong leaders, Black folks they had Black people that represent the interests of Black Americans who can trace their lineage through chattel slavery, through Jim Crow, through lynchings, to Black codes, to the founding of this republic. People all make a big deal about Black folks sometimes celebrating the 4th of July, and we're the most American people. You had 5,000 Black men fight with George Washington and his Continental Army. One of the most important figures of the American Revolutionary War was a Black man named John Armistead Lafayette. I think Armistead. Let me see, John Armistead Lafayette. Let me see, I'm make sure you get his name right because I know my voice is needed, but people don't know what, if you try to do something in a very sincere way, a lot of times the people that come against you first looks like you, supposedly. They're supposed to be, but they not like us. They not like us. They not like us. They look like you. But I want to make sure I say his name, this righteous ancestor name, right? John Armistead Lafayette. That's his name. That's right. He was a double agent. He was a spy for the Continental Army. He did his thing. for the revolution, and he gave a important intel that helped George Washington win the war. What people don't understand is just George Washington, so-called General George Washington, one of the founding fathers. He lost more battles than he won. I want y'all to understand what this life thing is about. Understand that he lost more battles than he won, but yet he won the war. He won the war. So how's that possible? Because life is not about quantity; it's about quality. You know, you could have a lot of food that you like to eat, but is it quality food? Yeah, you could have a quantity of food and stuff that you devour, but is it quality? Will it enhance your way of existing, of operating, of moving? So this black man, James Armistead Lafayette, is an unsung hero, and rightfully could be called a founding father because without his intel, without him spying on Benedict Arnold, that's the when people call a person that's a traitor, they call him a Benedict Arnold. Benedict Arnold. So let me see. He said, as a double agent, he reported the activities of Benedict Arnold after he had defected to the British and of Lord Charles Cornwallis during the run up to the siege of Yorktown. He fed the British false information while disclosing very accurate and detailed accounts to the Americans. That's Brother John Armistead Lafayette. Say his name, people, righteous ancestor. And I'm gonna read it said sunrise 1748 or 1760. They don't even know when he was born, like Frederick Douglass, but he died in 1830 or 1832. So they don't know when he was born or when he died officially. So that means he was a supernatural being. Black folks, we got special powers. Dick Gregory talk about shape shifting and things of that nature. Tomboy, Tomcat, shape shifting abilities. And this man was a master spy. This man had a way of moving through different worlds and operating. Like I used to be a janitor. I did janitorial work over the last, decade or so. And the interesting thing is people don't understand the power of being a janitor because you are allowed into spaces that other folks are not privy to. I'm dumping out your garbage. I can look at some of the things you're throwing away. I'm moving through the office spaces and stuff, and people just talking among their colleagues. They don't see me as a threat or anything like that. But I am observant. I'm an artist. I'm a people watcher. I'm observant, and I pick up on the lingo and the movement, how they move in those certain spaces, and it's fascinating. So we gotta appreciate that America is as much as our homeland. If you are a so-called African American or Black American that has lineage through the slavery years and all that stuff, I can name ancestors that fought in the Revolutionary War, Black and white, Civil War. So I can name those ancestors. So I have a claim to this land that I'm not willing to give up for nobody. Now I feel like it's very wrong that people are allowed to come here or they are illegally coming here and they're getting privileges and advantages that I cannot get. And I'm American and I got family that served in every war just about that I know of. They served like, Revolutionary War, Civil War, World War I, World War II, Vietnam, all that stuff. Okay. So why I'm not privy to this. So let's talk about I'm gonna do a show about the why blacks should celebrate the 4th of July or the happy day that you lied, that they lied. The 4th of they lied or whatever. I like to call it, I like to play on words. And speaking of playing words, check out that Kendrick Lamar. They not like us video, not like us video. The official video is very fascinating. And I might do a show on that as well too. People doing a lot of speculation about what he was meaning because he's the master of the quadruple, quintuple, double meaning. He's truly a poet, and he's one of the all-time greats. And I always said that I enjoy Kendrick. He's in my top 5, tied for number 3 with Ice Cube. Yeah, West Side. But I know y'all want to get into. I call it the great debacle. That's the debate that happened on June 27th. the presidential debate between Donald Trump and Joe Biden. And let's talk about that. I think it's fascinating. I watched the whole thing. I was eating some barbecue nachos, chicken, some very good barbecue chicken nachos from Central Barbecue. I mean, if you ever in Memphis, if I like you enough, I'll take you to Central Barbecue. I like that barbecue. I got a friend, he's really into Neely's barbecue, interstate barbecue. That's good barbecue too. But my thing, I love, Central Barbecue. I like their jerk chicken wings. It's excellent. But also their beef brisket and chicken nachos are terrific. And that was like a terrific treat to watch watch the circus that was in town, which was the Joe Biden and Donald Trump debate. And let's talk about the great debacle. Now, what do I mean by debacle? Let's look up the definition of what debacle is. I'm going to share that with the people. And please support what we're doing here, because nobody does it like Brother Ron, and we all be in it to win it. And I refuse to be silent in a time that people need to hear from people like me. And I'm not going to be silent, but y'all got to support what I do, because people can make suggestions about what I need to talk about, but support what I do. Respectfully, because I love you madly. So this is what a debacle is, right? We're going to look at, so what do Roberta Ron mean by debacle? Well, let's look at the dictionary meaning of debacle, right? Let's look at that. Okay. It says debacle or debacles, plural noun, a sudden and ignominious, failure, a fiasco, the economic debacle that became known as the Great Depression. Okay. So, yeah, I think that sums up the debate. Maybe it might be the first debate or last debate, and people are in, Joe Biden surrogates, what you call them, supporters, advocates. They're talking about that he wasn't treated fairly, but it was the Biden administration that set the terms for the engagement known as the Great Debacle in my eyes. So how, why did he lose if he had all the advantages? Like, he's the president in charge, and his administration set the rules for what was, off limits and within limits, so how, he had the advantage. He had, we call it home field advantage, and he fumbled the ball. It kind of remind me of, when Orlando Magic played the Houston Rockets back in the mid-90s for the NBA championship. Like Anthony Hardaway, great star, brilliant basketball player, really was a Hall of Fame caliber player, but the injuries basically shortened a very brilliant career. And you had Anthony Penny Hardaway with Shaquille O'Neal, not even in his prime, but a beast already, and versus the Houston Rockets, Hakeem Olajuwon and Clyde Drexler in there. And remember that, like at the end, I think it was game one, where Nick Anderson had so many chances to hit one free throw. I think he got like 6 or 8 tries, right? I don't look it up. He had a lot of tries. I remember looking at the game, and he couldn't hit one free throw. He had like a lot of tries to hit this free throw. If he had hit a free throw, they would have probably won the game. He couldn't hit it, and then that set the tone for the whole series to me, because I don't think the Magic ever rebounded from that, because first of all, that was a younger team. Houston Rockets were more experienced, you know what I'm saying, that won the championship the year before. So, but they just couldn't get past that. And I think Nick Anderson was never the same player. He was the first basketball player, I believe, drafted by the Orlando Magic. He was a Chicago hoops and high school hoops legend. Nick Anderson was a very well-respected Chicago baller, one of the best in high school. And so, but after that happened, it's kind of like Nick Anderson disappeared, and he wasn't the same. So, I mean, it's something. And I look at Biden, Biden had a lot of chances to secure the victory on that Thursday night, but June 27th, but he fumbled. Really, he didn't fumble, he mumbled. I couldn't understand a lot of what Biden was saying. He was mumbling like a mumble rapper. He needed a Metro Boomin to make some drums so he could, freestyle. He sounded like he was Young Thug or whatever Future. They all could do a collab together. You know what I'm saying? Because, Atlanta is a place where the colonizers go to get relevant again. So Biden, the colonizer, could have went down and used Metro Boomin and Future and Young Thug, maybe make a deal with, hey, young fella, I'll give you a pardon. You get out of prison. I'll call Fannie off your aid. I'll call Fannie Willis off your assets if you make me a campaign song. So I don't know. Let's make a deal out of our, look, did Donald Trump get Lil Wayne, Kodak Black, and them out of penitentiary chances? He got Kodak Black out of prison. Lil Wayne, that's Donald Trump. And people want to say, well, Donald Trump is too old and Biden's too old. No, y'all, it's no. They are both old people. People got a thing against people being old. Ageism is real. But Donald Trump is very energetic. He's very engaged. He's still witty. He's still with it. He has energy. He has more energy than people have his age. I know people that's way younger than Donald Trump. They don't have the type of energy that Donald Trump exudes. And he's still quick with it. He's still media savvy, in my opinion. And he come across very well, all things considered. And people got to understand when people say, well, they're both clowns, or Biden is a clown and Trump is a clown. And I go back to what Julius Caesar said about bread and circuses. You give them bread and circuses and they won't complain. They'll be too busy getting stuff and distracted and in a daze. So you could do whatever you want to do. You could ransack the empire. You can do all types of horrible crimes and get away with it because people are too engaged in the BS and distractions. And social media is the new circus. Social media is the new freak show. So people are very distracted, and people, it's like it's COINTELPRO and MK Ultra. It's like it's a programming they doing on our minds to get us to think and respond a certain way. All this stuff is about emotional manipulation. So when you are emotional, you may not make the best choices for your in your interest. You know what I'm saying? When you're very emotional, you may not make the best choices. So it's a thing that people call being triggered, like, oh, that triggered me, or he or she triggered me. And to me, when something or someone triggers you, it's not that something or that someone that's at fault. It's something that's within you that needs to be resolved, that needs to be settled, or reconciled, or whatever. A lot of people are walking around as adults, but they're really wounded children. They're still dealing with childhood trauma. So we got to talk about stuff like this. And with Biden and Trump, an elder once said, you get the leadership that you deserve. Let me say that, make it plain. You get the leadership that you deserve. When you say, well, that's a clown, there's nobody run, because they're a reflection of who we are as a society. So-called leadership, representation of leadership, is a reflection of who we are as a society. So when you look at the clown on stage and CNN, that's really you looking back at you. Yeah, a lot of people don't understand. If you want better, we got to do better. See, the thing about it is that y'all call people that are politicians leaders. Politicians are puppets that represent the interests of the people or the entities that put them in that position. They are not leaders. They take marching orders. They are soldiers to whoever army is financing their campaign. Whoever they're taking orders from some entity, some individual. People talk about this thing about the shadow government. The shadow government does not need the people's vote to operate. The shadow government, you got people say, well, we should limit term limits. You got folks that have been in power for decades behind the scenes. A lot of us don't know their names. When I used to substitute teach, I used to tell young people, I said, you want to know, you see when a president or when some type of so-called royalty person dies, all these VIPs be in the room. And I was telling the most powerful people in that room, in that space, are the people that are standing or sitting next to the most popular people that you know. Like that person that's next to Obama that you don't know, they don't hold no office. They have the cards in their hands. They have the strings to the back of Obama's back. No disrespect to him, but I'm saying like the president does not run the show. And it's quite evident that Biden has checked out years ago. He's not what he was in 2019. He is mumbling. He's not articulating. He looks out of it. He's talking to dead people. I see dead people. Biden sees dead people. Biden sees dead people. So like it's a bunch of malarkey that he's running. And it's really interesting because I started thinking about the history of Democratic presidents being very sick and they try to cover it up. I was thinking about when Woodrow Wilson, uh he was the Joe Biden of the early 20th century. And it's interesting because just like Joe Biden, Woodrow Wilson had a lot of prominent black people and black voters vote for him, a Democrat. And normally black folks at that time were Republicans, the party of Lincoln, or the radical Republicans, Reconstruction Republicans. They were the party of Lincoln. And then, but the black leadership class, and there's some people I respect, like Dr. W.E.B. Du Bois, Ida B. Wells Barnett, William Monroe Trotter, the guy who had the newspaper The Guardian up in Boston. I think he was the first black Phi Beta Kappa out of Harvard University, and Du Bois, of course, was the first black person to receive a PhD out of Harvard University. They all went for Woodrow Wilson. A lot of them compared him to Lincoln. I don't understand. This dude is a son of the South. His classmate in college was Thomas Dixon, the guy who created the book series called The Klansman. One of them called The Klansman is the basis or the foundation for the movie Birth of a Nation, which Woodrow Wilson screened in the White House and basically said allegedly that it was like writing history with lightning. It was so accurate. This led to the insurgence of the Ku Klux Klan, which started back in 1915 in Stone Mountain, Georgia. The original Klan was started in the 1860s in Pulaski, Tennessee, and Nashville, Tennessee. So that's the president of the United States at the time that black folks voted for, just like they voted for Biden, because Biden said if you don't vote Democrat, you ain't black. Well, Woodrow Wilson must have said the same thing. If y'all don't vote Democrat, you're not black. You're not Negro. You're not colored. You're not American. So that's the thing. So black folks regretted putting Woodrow Wilson in office because he resegregated the federal government. He resegregated Washington, D.C., the nation's capital. And he did all this, and black folks voted for him in mass. But he also, like, during his time as president, he suffered some serious health setbacks where his wife was actually running. The first lady, she probably was the first president, first woman president. His second wife was running the country. Like, he was kept secluded from certain figures in Congress and stuff like that. And basically, it was his wife deciding. Very interesting situations, life and death, all this stuff. This woman had all the power because her husband was incapacitated from suffering from either heart attack or strokes or whatever. But also, you think about FDR, Franklin Roosevelt, who was allegedly stricken by polio. I think he got his polio, it's kind of weird. He got polio at around 39 years old or something like that. He was an adult. That's all I say, because I don't want to get into like getting trapped. People say, well, Brother Ron said he was 39, but he actually, with this age, look, just look it up. Take a look. It's all online. What I'm saying is he got some, I guess they call it polio. I don't know what it really was when he was a grown man. And so that left him in a wheelchair. But that was hidden from the American people. This man became the governor of New York. He became four-term president, the first four-term president. He didn't, finish out the fourth term. He just, soon as he was sworn in, just about he was dead by April of 1945, April 12th, 1945. But he was in a wheelchair. He was polio stricken. And a lot of times, and now we're more enlightened about, I guess, people handicaps. But back then, if they saw a person with a handicap that want to be a powerful person, they thought something was wrong with you mentally or whatever. They thought, oh man, if he can't walk, then he means something's wrong with him mentally and all that stuff. Something's awful about him. But what happened was the press was so different than it is now. Basically had a deal to cover up the fact that he was in a wheelchair. Like it's footage of Roosevelt. He got braces on his legs, and he's holding on to people to help him walk. So I know he probably had tremendous upper body strength. But I think it's interesting that the memorial they did for Franklin Roosevelt in Washington, D.C. They showed one of him, a statue, a likeness of him sitting down, but then they got like, I think I got like a wheelchair wheel sticking out behind him, or whatever, and let people know, hey, he was in a wheelchair. But it seemed like he did all right for himself, you know what I'm saying? And also you think about JFK. JFK had a lot of illnesses. He should never been president. If they actually look at his health records, he should not been president because of all the stuff. I think he had Addison's disease and some other stuff going on with him. But whatever. But I'm saying, like, it's interesting because people are talking about the presidency, it stress you out. It's like it does. It ages you because it's weird to want to be president of the United States. You got to be a special mental person. Like, you got to be a mental case to want to be president. You got to have some type of form of megalomania in your body. You got to be a megalomaniac. You got some extreme megalomaniacs. You got some, borderline, whatever. But you can't be a normal person and say, I want to be the president of the United States. It doesn't work like that. So all these people are a little bit off. And that's okay, because we all should be off, because like Dr. King said, he said human salvation lies in the hands of the creatively maladjusted. So with that said, Biden should step down. There's no way to justify him trying to seek a second term. And the fact that they still getting behind Biden, and Kamala Harris is his VP, that's really sad. That means they don't have any faith in Kamala Harris to be a president, even though she's just heartbeat away from being president. Her party does not have any type of confidence in her ability to lead the country. And quite frankly, she should not even be there. And quite frankly, once again, black folks are their own worst enemies, because this woman, y'all call her so-called black, she's an AKA Chuck and Pearls and all that. She was the top cop in California for years, and she did things to undermine black people in California. And you can talk to black folks from California about Kamala, just like you talking to black folks from Chicago about Obama, the other Obama that y'all don't want to acknowledge. And that's another show altogether. But with Kamala, I remember reading about Matrice Richardson, this beautiful black girl. I think she was from South L.A., and she had bipolar issues. Like, she acted out at a restaurant. They called in the police, or the sheriffs came and arrested her and held her at the sheriff's station in Malibu. And her family was calling, letting them know, hey, can we pick her up? If she got to stay overnight, just let us know. We'll pick her up. Her family was concerned. She was loved by people. People love her. In spite of what she was going through, as far as mental health, she had a lot of love around her, both her parents. And, this is what they did. She's not from that area, right? This woman had a mental breakdown. They let her go at midnight without anybody being out there to wait for her to get out. They didn't notify the parents and anybody. They allowed her to leave the sheriff's station at midnight, and she disappeared. And her family did not know what happened, because they said, we would have picked her up if y'all just let us pick her up. We would, this wouldn't happen. But, they ended up finding her remains not that far away from the sheriff's station, in an area that would be hard to get to by foot. I believe you got to fly maybe a helicopter or something in that area to get to it, but it'll be hard. I don't think it'll be impossible, but it'll be very, very difficult to get to the spot where they found her body, or her remains, basically. Because probably skeletal remains, the animals got to her and stuff like that. And so the family met with Kamala Harris, and she promised them to do right by them. And I believe I saw a clip of her just laughing like a hyena, or something, like weird laughing. Like, she know how to do that nervous laugh and stuff. Can you imagine her dealing with Putin and doing that weird laugh she does? She's so weird. But I thought that was very disrespectful. And I felt like, more of us should have known about the Matrice Richardson situation. And you could just judge her off of that, her inability to have empathy with that family, to really take getting justice for Sister Matrice Richardson seriously. And she's not taken seriously now, because she should not be. I remember, I think YouTube started really hiding the likes and dislikes, or the dislikes, because of her disastrous Breakfast Club interview that she did. I think her Breakfast Club interview got more dislikes than likes. So they started hiding likes and dislikes, or dislikes, and she didn't win in the primaries, right? She didn't win one primary, and yet she's vice president. And she talked about Biden being a racist, segregationist, no, segregationist, right? And yet she become his VP running buddy. So she's a chameleon. She's a things to many people, but nothing to herself. She's like a chameleon. You know, Kamala is not to be trusted. You trust her to be a chameleon. How about that? I ain't gonna say she's not to be trusted, but trust her to be what she is, which is a shape-shifting chameleon like persona. Maybe reptilian. Maybe she's reptilian. You know, it's interesting. You know, I used to find Kamala Harris attractive. I ain't gonna lie to you. You know, when she used to do the Tavis Smiley State of the Black Union, and you know, before we had a black president, so-called black president, I always used to look forward annually to Tavis Smiley's State of the Black Union, because that was like a time when all eyes were focused on Black America and our needs and our agenda. And you look at now, Tavis no longer has the influence or the platform because he went against the golden child. Him and Dr. Cornel West, they were critical of Obama administration and not the they wasn't like, you know, taking personal shots at Obama, but at his administration and their policies or lack of policies as it pertains to Black Americans. And a lot of Black American people, like even Tom Joyner, who used to have Tavis appear on his show to do certain news segment, he started disavowing Tavis. Tavis was a persona non grata among the Black bougie elite, you know, leadership class. And time has proven Tavis to be correct in trying to hold the president accountable to do things for Black Americans. And it's when I go back to Woodrow Wilson, you know, a lot of Black people voted for Woodrow Wilson. A lot of Black leaders back then told Black people to vote for Woodrow Wilson. Look what happened. And I talked about William Monroe Trotter, brilliant journalist. He actually led boycotts against the movie Birth of a Nation in Boston because he saw the future. He said it's going to segregate the whole country. And he's the son of a medal-winning U.S. color troop. His father was U.S. color troop in the American Civil War. And he actually confronted Woodrow Wilson in the White House about basically being a hypocrite. Like, how you going to do this and not help us? They not like us. They not like us. They not like us. And Woodrow Wilson kicked him out the White House. He said, this man kick him out, get rid of him. He said, I didn't like the tone. Because Woodrow Wilson used to be the president of Princeton University. He can't deal with no educated, you know what? You know what I'm saying? He said, I'd be damned with this, get in my face like this and be disrespectful with his tone. So he kicked him out the White House. So we don't even know who William Monroe Trotter was. I'm just letting y'all know. Look him up. He's a righteous ancestor. He tried his best. But you start thinking about this stuff, right? You start thinking about things. And it's very important to think about, why are Black people so beholden in general to the Democratic or Democratic Party? It's weird to me. It's Stockholm syndrome. I'm not even saying you should be Republican. I'm saying that you should hold these people accountable. It's like there's no accountability. Because I'm talking about Tavis and Cornel West. I wish Tavis Smiley would have had the ear of the president instead of Al Sharpton. Al Sharpton had access in the Obama administration to the White House. Al Sharpton has not done anything to help elevate Black people. I'm going to say that. Al Sharpton has been an opportunist. He's been proven to be an informant. He has not done anything to elevate. He had 8 years. He could have been in President Obama's ear. He could have got him to see the ways of, like, he saw the light on gay marriage, right? Obama, he could have saw the lights on reparations for Black people if he had the right type of Black folk around him. And that is key. We don't have advocates for Black Americans. I'm talking about Black America. I ain't talking about no disrespect to immigrants or anybody else. That's not what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to understand that we should be designated a special people based on what we had to endure as a people. It's like when I have Judge Joe Brown on here, y'all know that Judge is not for reparations. I don't think he's not for reparations. He's basically saying that don't wait for it to happen, because they may not give it to you at all. They won't give it to you. They won't. But what I'm saying is, when people lost land, when black folks lost their land, a lot of people left the South not because they wanted to leave the South. They ran for their lives. You know, you had Mississippi where black folks owned land and had businesses, and they ran for their lives. They forfeit the land, forfeit the business, and they went up north with nothing. Or they started working for somebody else when they was working for themselves. That's the thing. That's our reparations. Because like, if let's say black folks didn't leave Mississippi in droves, Mississippi would have had like several black governors and senators by now. Easily. They would have had, this be outside of Reconstruction, because they had senators, from Mississippi during Reconstruction. But they would have had several black U.S. senators and state governors if, there wasn't any state-sponsored white terrorism. So when people say, well, the statute of limitations ran out. Well, they were scared. Why would they want to go back and say, you know what? These folks ran me out my land. I want to reclaim my land. Yeah, you're gonna reclaim your land. They're gonna put you in the ground. And maybe not even tell your folks about it. So the thing about it is, you got to think about, well, under those circumstances, like even with when the Oklahoma courts rejected the last plea of the survivors of the Tulsa Race Massacre, the Oklahoma Supreme Court threw their case out the courts, because they said the statutes of limitations. And I'm thinking, like, y'all committed genocide, and it was a cover up for decades, and was taboo, and people was afraid to talk about it in the black community for fear of losing their lives. And y'all trying to, like, this was a normal thing of, they had all this time. How come they didn't file it? Well, you're dealing with an unfair just us system. They don't respect our claims. Like, Dred Scott was told by Roger Taney, the chief Supreme Court justice, in the decision when, Dred Scott was trying to get his freedom, right? He basically told Roger Taney that you nor your descendants have any rights that the white man is bound to respect by law. They told him that, but they telling us that too, that we have no rights that should be respected. And like I said, black folks, we the most American people. Black Americans are the most American people. Yeah, I said it. And like, we are the descendants, the spiritual descendants of Dred Scott. Our rights are not respected or acknowledged by the courts, because like the Tulsa Race Massacre, if you know the history of it, and not just what they tell you, but if you actually research it, because the survivors actually recorded their testimony before they passed on, became righteous ancestors, you'll see the horror that black people experience. Like, the insurance companies will not pay on the claims. Black folks were successful. They were homeowners. They had businesses, and they lost loved ones. They lost business. They lost homes, and they did not get one red cent from the insurance companies. But these same insurance companies insured the bullets and guns of the white mob that destroyed Black Wall Street. They got insurance money, but the black folks who actually was minding their own black business and being in the black and making money and being prosperous, they lost everything. And what they don't tell you too is that black folks did come back and rebuild in Tulsa, Black Wall Street, and they were actually stronger and blacker than ever. They were thriving during the Great Depression, but the system once again came in, form a systemic genocide with the urban renewal, or James Baldwin called it the Negro removal program. And also they built the highway or expressway through the heart of Black Wall Street to keep them from building like skyscrapers perhaps, or tall buildings, or just be able to divide the community, make it feel less of a community and more of a convenience for others just to run through. Because you go to that Greenwood Black Wall Street section today, I don't think any black person, they got so-called black businesses in that area, but I don't think any black person really owns real estate in that area. They got a soccer field, soccer stadium there, but I don't think any black person own anything. They renting, just like on Beale Street. I don't think any black person owned anything on Beale Street, and Beale Street was made famous by black people. That was the main street of Black America, because black folks had thriving businesses and practices, entertainment, Black folks could be free to be themselves on a, like a white person want to be black on Saturday night on Beale Street. That's about it. Because like, Beale Street was where it's at. But if you go to Beale Street now, you don't see, the allure like it was back in the day. Because they knocked down a lot of historic buildings. And like I said, I don't think any black person own a building or a piece of real estate on Beale Street outright. I could be wrong. Y'all can correct me. But it don't seem like we got anything going. Thank you, Sister Yvette. Yeah, 901 stand up. I appreciate it. And that's what we got to do. But like with the Trump thing and the Biden thing, the thing about this is that what we're missing is black leadership. 60 years ago, we had black leadership. We had a lot of black men that were in leadership, influential positions. You may not have agreed with their ideology. You may not have agreed with their methodology or their organization, but you had black men that advocated for Black America. You had Malcolm X. You had Elijah Muhammad, Dr. King, Kwame Ture, Stokely Carmichael, A. Philip Randolph. He was going to lead the first march on Washington back in 43, but postponed it because he got what he wanted out of Franklin Roosevelt. Now, they never passed an anti-lynching bill in all this time. Then they finally did the Emmett Till bill, but the Emmett Till bill has no teeth to it because when people get hanged or lynched now, they call it suicide. So anyway, they don't even investigate it. So you had Whitney Young of the National Urban League. You got Mark Morial. I met him. He all right, he cool. He not a bad guy. But Whitney Young was the Michael Jordan of National Urban League executives. Whitney Young was able to secure millions of dollars from Kennedy, from Lyndon B. Johnson, and from Richard Milhouse Nixon. Y'all got this thing about Nixon. He got probably more money out of Richard Nixon, the Republican, than he did out the Democrats. I think he did get more money out of Richard Nixon than the Democrats. As a matter of fact, Richard Nixon did his eulogy at his funeral because Whitney Young drowned like Obama's chef, but he drowned in the ocean off the coast of Nigeria. I want to say back in the early 70s, and Richard Nixon did his eulogy. But Whitney Young, y'all would consider him a sellout. But he was moving from the streets to the suites. He was able to get the ear of the president at the time he advocated for Black America, and he made some inroads. He got some money into the Black community to help Black people. Cause like he said, I'm gonna paraphrase what Whitney Young once said. He said, I'm gonna pull you out the gutter. I'm not gonna be in the gutter with you. If I can reach out a hand to help you pull yourself out, but I'm not getting in the gutter with you. And he did his job. But he's not remembered because we don't, because he wasn't he wasn't an orator like a Malcolm X or Dr. King. We don't remember those type of people. He moved behind closed doors, handshakes and stuff like that. Roy Wilkins of the NAACP, of course. James Farmer Accord. So you had Black men leading these organizations that were very articulate, very media savvy. And you don't have that no more. How can we say we progress as Black people when we don't even have Black leadership that advocate for Black America? Now, Tavis had the right idea about being critical of the Obama administration. And what Obama, I wish they would have done, Tavis, maybe a lot of people felt that Tavis was being petty because he did invite Obama to come to one of the State of the Black Unions. And I think he sent Michelle Obama or offered to send Michelle instead of himself. And Tavis got, they say he got in a hissy fit and whatever. Okay, he's a human being, ego involved, but that aside, it's not about the messenger, it's about the message. Obama should have been brought to task to do something for Black Americans, specifically like he did for gay people, like he did for immigrants, like he did for everybody but Black folk that voted for him in almost 100%. I voted for him twice. I went to both inaugurations. I even got a $300 speeding ticket to try to get back home the second time in a state that he was not going to even win. I was willing to speed in Virginia and got $300 speeding ticket just so I can vote for Obama in a state that he was going to lose anyway, which is the state of Tennessee. And disappointed. because we didn't hold in Al Sharpton was not holding Obama accountable. He's not accountable. Al Sharpton up here doing eulogies about people he never met. He only, know him in death. You're like, yeah, we were playing Uno. Me and George Floyd were playing Uno. And Mike Brown said he wanted to play some dominoes. He didn't know him like that. And and we go along with it. And, it's this movie called The Cooler. William Macy and Alec Baldwin. It's about this guy working in Vegas casinos. He's known as the Cooler because when you're on a hot streak, when you winning at the tables, whatever, and you winning too much money, they'll bring him to, get next to you so you start losing. And so I feel like when black folks are about to turn that corner, we're about to be on the winning side of things, about get things done. They'll fly in Al Sharpton to cool everything down. Hold up now. Hold up, everybody. Let's be hold up now. Hold up now. Hold up now. And I worked for Al Sharpton before for free. So my mom helped organize the volunteers for his 40th anniversary King commemoration here in Memphis. He had headquartered in Peabody Hotel. And he really didn't have anybody on the ground in Memphis to help him organize and get volunteers for the National Action Network for their conference or whatever they was doing. Because Al Sharpton, I guess he ordained himself the leader of Black America with that. Because normally you think about Jesse Jackson, Reverend Jesse Jackson doing stuff. Then it shifted to Al Sharpton. He was the flavor of the moment. And that was 2008. And my mom, she helped organize volunteers for him for free. She didn't get the recognition that she deserved for that, Dr. Callie Hurd. But he could thank her because we are the volunteer state. My mom is very good at that. She actually organized the volunteers for Alex Haley's funeral as well, too. She was one of the people that helped organize volunteers. My mom is a brilliant person. Shout out to Dr. Callie Hurd. But getting back to what I'm saying, Al Sharpton didn't do anything for black people in 8 years. So black people, we owe Jesse Jackson an apology. Reverend Jesse Jackson is owed an apology from Black America. Jesse Jackson tried. He fell short. He's human. He's flawed. But a lot of things y'all mad at Jesse about ain't worth being mad about. Jesse put his life on the line. I remember when Jesse went to Ferguson, they booed him. They ran him out of Ferguson. They didn't really run him out of Ferguson. Cause I saw him the next day at the church. I took a picture with him, and also I interviewed him at the airport hotel. I think it was the Marriott, whatever. I think he was staying at the same hotel I was, and I saw him at the bar. And I did a short interview with him because we was watching the news to see if people would obey the curfew in Ferguson. They had a curfew for people in Ferguson. This is back in August of 2014. And he was, and he said, and Jesse Jackson, like Dick Gregory would say, one of the most brilliant minds on the planet. Because he was saying, well, every riot is started because of police misconduct. That's every riot, police misconduct. So I said, man, Jesse, okay, can I interview you, Mr. Jackson? Yeah, go ahead. He was really into it, and I think Jesse meant well. He really did. I believe so. And I just think we gave him a hard time because he ran for president. A lot of death threats. Nation of Islam, the Fruit of Islam, had to protect them. He told some truths that people didn't want to deal with about them people. And people, he was in on the King thing. I don't know. Jesse was 26. He was an opportunist. Dr. King felt he was an opportunist. A lot of people felt that Jesse was an opportunist. But he wasn't the only person that was ambitious during that time. Because even when King got killed, everybody wanted to be the next king, right? But they don't want to take a bullet in the face. That's the thing. So he ain't the only person, but he did stuff. And he, it's not like Jesse Jackson. I remember looking at that documentary about the Gary Convention, the Black Political Convention in Gary back in 1972. It's worth looking at. I think it's on YouTube. And you had the widows of both Malcolm and Dr. King there. And the way they was doing it, they saw Jesse as the one who got next, who's now. They saw him like how some people look at Kendrick Lamar. How they saw Jesse Jackson back in 72. But Jesse did, have the ear of presidents. He tried to advocate for black people. See, what we need right now in Black America is a Frederick Douglass type of person that can get the ear of a president, that can help set policy. Dr. King had that ability, and they killed him because he was getting in a position to be able to affect public policy. That's too much power for one Negro to have, as they say. So they got rid of Dr. King. Fred Hampton, they got rid of Fred Hampton. Stokely Carmichael had to get out of here. They got rid of Malcolm X. So many people. But We don't have anybody to advocate. Even in these, y'all be infatuated with these black women in Congress and in federal just us or whatever. They don't do anything for black people either. Not really. They do a lot of catchy memes and saying, ain't nobody that's black in Congress advocating for black Americans getting reparations. We should have a lobby that's just as powerful as AIPAC. Israel has AIPAC. What do black America have? We don't have anything. So to say that, no, when Donald Trump say, I have done more things for black America than any president since Lincoln, whether you believe or don't believe that, I tell you one thing, I will make him make a deal. He had the platinum plan, whatever he did, the opportunities on. He gave money to HBCUs. Biden just recently ignored a black woman who wanted to take a picture with him to it. She wanted to be acknowledged. That went viral. But yet Donald Trump goes to Chick-fil-A in Atlanta and buy everybody's milkshakes and chicken sandwiches, and he talked to black people. Donald Trump pardoned Kodak Black and Lil Wayne. He pardoned Jack Johnson. Mike Tyson is a close friend. He said, he when Mike Tyson was going through what he was going through, Donald Trump defended him on national television on a David Letterman show. When David Letterman was trying to throw him under the bus, Donald Trump said, no, you can't do that. You can look that up online, make that go viral, because y'all be stuck on the Central Park 5 mess. And a lot of y'all didn't even know about it until Netflix did a movie. So you learn about yourself from people that are so-called opposition. You let your ops educate you about who you are. And that's sad, because I knew about the Central Park 5 since I was a kid, because I used to look at 2020 on Fridays, right? I used to look at that. So I knew about that in the 90s. So I knew about Emmett Till when I was a kid and when I was in elementary school, not because the school told me, but because I used to listen to the elders, and I used to love reading books outside of the class. I go to the library, read books and stuff like that. My grandma had a Black History encyclopedia that World Book produced back in the 70s. I used to read that thing for hours. So I knew about Emmett Till and Paul Robeson and Fort Pillow Massacre before I even turned 12 years old. I already had that in me. So I'm not like us. They're not like us. I'm not like that. I'm not like y'all. I'm joking. But I am. I love my people. But that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. But we don't have anybody to advocate for Black America in those powerful spaces. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I mean, somebody like to lay it out saying you can't, like just like descendants of the soldiers, the Black veterans who did not get all their GI Bill benefits. Those should be passed on to their descendants, but it's not. Because the GI Bill helped a lot of soldiers get careers as well as home ownership. The GI Bill was a path for education and home ownership. Imagine if a lot of those Black veterans from World War II was able to get access to the full benefits of the GI Bill. How would Black America look as far as wealth? See, anything, they'll try to do anything to stop us from having wealth, whether it be credit. This is the only country I believe that just do the credit thing to the ground. But it's to stop Black people from having stuff. And the thing about it, between Biden and Trump, you talking about, like I said, Donald Trump paying for an op-ed that he said that the Central Park 5 people should be put to death. That was a popular perspective back then. A lot of people in the public sphere thought they were guilty based on how the narrative was presented by the media. And Donald Trump thought they were guilty based on what the media told or fed the people. And so he wrote this op-ed. And now, he put them guys to death. He sentenced them to death like he was a person who sentenced George Steeney, the 14-year-old kid in South Carolina, to death. And he wasn't. Donald Trump didn't sentence anybody to death. He was just echoing the popular sentiment at the time. But Joe Biden has sentenced people to prison, Black people. He has destroyed Black families for generations with his policies. Him and the Democrats and everybody else, even the Black politicians that went along. And you know who their names are. I don't feel like saying it, but a lot of them express remorse and regret, and they represent the same government that had the gun that killed Dr. King. The gun that killed Dr. King came from the FBI. It can be traced back to the FBI. So that's all you need to know. And the FBI was found guilty of killing Fred Hampton and Mark Clark while they were sleeping. You know, their families won a civil lawsuit that was worth about $1.85 million back in 1982. It was like a 12-year process. But my thing is, the government kills your leadership, and they leave a paper trail. They put it in the National Archives, and they want to put it in a vault for about 50 years. But even with the January 6th thing, you know, like Donald Trump, like how he basically would not accept responsibility for what happened on January 6th in the debate, but the next day, the Supreme Court ruled in his favor. And you know, like some of the people that feel like some of the people who already even had trials concerning January 6th, they were railroaded. So this is like, okay. Then you look at, you know, people, he's convicted felon, running for office, convicted felon. I said, well, look at it like this. We just got through celebrating the 4th of July. You can make a case. You probably can say that we celebrate the birthday of a country founded by felons. We celebrated the birthday of a country, of a republic that was founded by felons. They would have been considered felons if they lost, right? They would have been treasonous. They committed all types of crime against the British crown. They probably been put to death or long-term sentence in prison. The people that came to America and other places are the people that Europe didn't want. They didn't want these people. Australia, as we know it, the land of Australia started as a prison colony. They sent the folks they didn't want to other places. So America was started by the people that nobody wanted. And none, not the best of the best. So to say, so Trump is like, you know, he's a felon running for office, the highest office in the land, is very fitting. That's how American is that? Only in America, love it or leave it, baby. Oh, baby, baby. So there you go. You know what I'm saying? How American is that? And then, you know, more than likely the conviction will be overturned in appeal because they've been overzealous in going after Trump. And another thing about people who want to compare Trump to Hitler, I know you've been programmed. You are very programmed, because there ain't no way he's Hitler or even Stalin or anybody like that. Because had he been Hitler, had he been Stalin, he would not step aside and allow the Biden administration to be sworn in. He tried to stop it because he believed that the election was stolen. A lot of people still believe that it was stolen. I believe it was stolen. And but he stepped aside. He didn't hold up the government. He just stepped aside and let them swear in Joe Biden and see what the mess we are in 4 years later. Because Trump was a problem. He couldn't be controlled, because Trump even said in the debate, he offered 10,000 National Guard to come to the Capitol, because he knew a lot of people was coming in support of him. He didn't want no crazy stuff to go down. See, that y'all don't even want to tell the truth. Y'all can't hear the truth. Y'all so Trump deranged. He offered them 10,000 National Guard. The mayor of DC turned him down, and Nancy Pelosi, they turned him down. And he talked about how Nancy Pelosi confessed to her daughter, who's a well-known filmmaker, that was a mistake by turning down the troops. Or she said something to the effect that they made a mistake. She owns January 6th. Supposedly. That what Trump said. She said, and then the next day, Supreme Court, they back in Trump. And to me, I'm being honest with you, Trump is the greatest president of my lifetime. And I was born and conceived during the Carter administration. I had a chance to meet Jimmy Carter and his wife, Rosalind, the late Rosalind Carter, at their church in Plains, Georgia, after his Sunday school lesson and also the regular church service. I took a picture with him, gave him a plaque, because I got a lot of respect for Jimmy Carter too, because he tried. And I think history will be kind to Jimmy Carter because he tried, and he got railroaded. October surprise. Y'all look it up and see what I'm talking about. But Trump is the guy, because Trump went through a lot of stuff, a lot of unnecessary things. Ain't no other president that ever been impeached twice. And not only was he impeached twice, he beat them both times. Be under investigation before you even get sworn in over a hoax, which they proved he had no connection to. But I can prove, we all can prove, that Biden is connected to Ukraine before all this mess dropped off. Like I brought up with Judge Joe Brown. Biden was bragging like 2 years removed from office, January of 2018. I want to say January 23rd, 2018. He was at this event, and there's footage of it online. And he bragged about the fact that he forced the government of Ukraine to fired their chief prosecutor, who was looking into the dealings of a Ukrainian businessman that was connected to Joe Biden's son, Hunter Biden. Yeah, Hunter Biden, right? So he was saying, man, I told them if they don't call off the dogs, whatever. He didn't say it like that. I'm saying like that. If they didn't call these folks off, my son and his folks, the government of the United States will not allow them to have $1 billion. And so they end up firing this prosecutor, right? And so now we're in war with Ukraine versus Russia. And people don't understand, it's like war is about profit. It's not about justice. It's not about freedom. It's about the securing of resources. It's about making money at the expense of human life. And when people say, well, Joe Biden gave 97 billion, Joe Biden Congress gave all this money to Ukraine, that money is not actually going to the Ukrainian people. That's going to contractors and people that's supplying things for the war. Even Joe Biden said that basically, I could understand from his mumbling in the Great Debacle. He said it was going towards the contractors and stuff like that supply the war. So, Democrats got to think about, creating wars and sustaining wars. Most of our major wars were headed by Democratic presidents, with the exception, of course, of Operation Iraqi Freedom, whatever, Afghanistan and Iraq with George W. Bush. And that was a joke. What was crazy, if you look at Michael Moore's Fahrenheit 9/11, the Taliban was a guest of honor in Texas when George W. Bush was the president. They got footage of the Taliban visiting George W. Bush in Texas, I believe. If I'm not mistaken, it's been a while since I saw that. And then 2 years later, 9/11 happens. Then we got to get rid of the Taliban. But what the Taliban was doing, they were suppressing the growth of opium. And that's a no-no, because the biggest drug traffickers are not who you think they are. They are Uncle Sam. Uncle Sam is the biggest drug trafficker. Uncle Sam is the real American gangster. And y'all got to do y'all research on that. I'll tell you, for example, I'm going to do a bad boy movie review soon. And I thought it was interesting, the synopsis, or we call it the plot of Bad Boys 4. And I believe Bad Boys 4 is the best Bad Boys of them all. I was impressed. I didn't have any expectations, but one thing I know, you can't cancel Will Smith. It's like Will Smith and Mel Gibson, as much as they want to cancel them, they know how to make good movies. They know how to tell great stories. So great movies even. But anyway, I remember reading years ago in this magazine, online magazine about Chicago. It stated that 70 to 80% of the drug trade in Chicago is controlled by one Mexican cartel, the Sinaloa. I think it's Sinaloa cartel, El Chapo. He's like the Al Capone of Mexico. So it's interesting that his cartel controls the drug trade. And this is back in this came out about 10 years ago. So I don't know what it is now, but it was showing how powerful. But the reason why they was able to control so much of the drug trade in Chicago is because some of their top players, some of the top lieutenants in the cartel, one in particular, made a deal. He said he made a deal with the DEA as long as he was an informant and snitch on the other cartels, that the DEA, the American government, would look the other way and allow them to operate and flood the streets of Chicago while their product. And you can look this up. Matter of fact, let me do this. And support the movement, y'all. I think y'all Cash Apps, Venmo, PayPal, Google Pay, any little bit helps. Trust me. See what's saying. Gonna look this up. I love my people. That's why I go to war. Okay, this is like from that Chicago website. Let me see. I'm trying to get it right. Because El Chapo is like an Al Capone, the Mexican Al Capone, how the government treat him. It said in Chicago, let me see, in Chicago, that darling town, Chicago, I'll show you. In Chicago, the cartel has a near monopoly. I say 70 to 80% of the narcotics here are controlled by Sinaloa and Chapo Guzman, says Jack Rowley, director of the DEA's Chicago office. Virtually all our major investigations at some point lead back to other investigations tied to Sinaloa. In August 2009, 5 months after Zambada's capture, a federal grand jury in Chicago indicted him and 45 others tied to a Sinaloa-led drug ring in the city. Patrick Fitzgerald, the U.S. attorney at the time, called the indictments the most significant drug importation conspiracies ever charged in Chicago, claiming that the cartel imported and distributed nearly $6 billion worth of illegal narcotics, mostly to the Chicago area between 1990 and 2008. Okay. I'm trying to get to the point where I'm trying to. So this one like top lieutenant in the Sinaloa cartel, he said, okay, and this is what he said: whenever Zambada, this guy named Zambada, does get to the Durskin U.S. courthouse, all eyes in the narco world will be watching. In court filings, Zambada has already made the explosive claim that he was working as a secret informant for the DEA in exchange for information on rival drug lords, he says. U.S. authorities offer him immunity from prosecution and turn a blind eye towards the Sinaloa cartel's illegal activities. Prosecutors denied these allegations. So let you know, make a deal with the devil, right? I'm just letting y'all know how dirty Uncle Sam is. Now, I think my, I don't know if y'all can hear me or not. I hope I'm coming through. So that's dirty, man. Uncle Sam, dirty boy. Look at the movie Charlie Wilson War. It talk about the U.S. representative from Texas, Charlie Wilson, helping to finance the Afghanistan fight against Russia during the 80s. And this directly led to the training of Osama bin Laden. You know, this situation of us getting involved help us to create Osama bin Laden. You could say he was an asset, just like Charles Manson was an asset of the government of CIA. And he said it to the day he died, he was CIA. I'm CIA, man. I'm CIA, man. I believe you, man. I believe you. So getting back to Trump, Trump is a problem for these people because he's in the country club, but they don't like him. And he's a disruptor. And the reason why a lot of us as black men, I ain't gonna say a lot of black men, because a lot of y'all ain't got no backbone. A lot of black men like me like, or some people say love Donald Trump because he does not apologize for being a man. He does not apologize for being himself. He shows up in spaces as himself. He does not back down. He knows how to fight. He does not lay down and get shock shanked. He don't just be laying down and getting Shawshank. Even the Shawshank, he was fighting back. You know, Tim Robbins, great movie. He was fighting back, but you know what I'm saying? I believe that, you know, people need to understand the power of that. You know, he's not only fighting for himself, he's fighting for his legacy. He's actually fighting for the country, because a lot of stuff he had said would happen if we didn't do anything is coming to pass. Like even with the border situation, you know, he tried to build that wall. People thought that was silly. You know what's weird? There was a science fiction show back in the 50s, I believe, late 50s, maybe early 60s. You can find this on YouTube. It was about this guy named Fred Trump. He was out west. He wanted to build a wall to keep the aliens out. He was telling the town people, we need to build a wall to keep the aliens out. And I don't know, like Mandela effect, or, you know, it's like time travel. But the guy named Fred Trump, and Donald Trump dad is Fred Trump. He was a well-known real estate builder dude. You know, he actually got money from the government to build the Queensbridge projects, and also to build homes for for veterans. He helped, you know, build homes for veterans and stuff like that. And I remember reading something about Fred Trump where he was able, because he's a businessman. He was a businessman, so he saved a lot of money. You know, I guess he cut corners and stuff building some of this stuff, some of these homes and housing. And so he was able to pocket it, maybe several $1 million in his personal bank account. And I believe that they said, and when Eisenhower, who was President Eisenhower, found out about this, they, who is this fella? Bring him to DC. Who is this fella? You know? And it was like, but Donald Trump said the game is rigged. He never said it was not rigged in his favor. And there's nothing about, I'm talking about housing discrimination with Trump. Oh, he discriminated against black people. Donald Trump did not invent redlining. The government invented redlining, just like the government invented Jim Crow and apartheid. So you blame Donald Trump for the stuff that America does because America does it. It's just the America's pastime is not baseball. America's pastime is to discriminate against Black Americans. That's really America's pastime, to terrorize and discriminate against Black America. And we don't have anybody in these spaces that's brave enough to say that and stand on it and to present the evidence. Like what I told Judge Joe Brown about the Tulsa race massacre survivors not getting their case, getting their case thrown out of court. He was saying, "Well, they'll start your limitation." I said, "But Judge, in the early 2000s, the great lawyer Johnny Cochran was trying to get reparations for the descendants of the Tulsa race massacre. And he died of brain cancer, unfortunately. I believe it was 2005. He tried to get it. He was organizing his legal team and stuff like that, just like the Wilmington Race Massacre of 1898 or Wilmington Race Insurrection. Because like my thing is, y'all still believe January 6th was an insurrection. That was a joke. It was like a sideshow, a freak show, and it's more like a protest rally or something. But that they were let in by the Capitol Hill police. There's footage of them being let in, allowed in the Capitol by the police themselves. And don't say they Trump supporters. No, because Trump was trying to get 10,000 National Guards to DC to maybe stop something like that, and they didn't want them. So y'all can blame Trump all you want to for that, but insurrection is what happened. 1898, Wilmington, North Carolina. Wilmington was the fastest and probably I think the biggest, fastest growing, biggest city in North Carolina. Now I think it's Charlotte, right? But back then it was Wilmington. And what made Wilmington unique, you had Black folks that were thriving in Wilmington, North Carolina. You had Black folks that owned businesses. You had Black folks that owned land, had resources, a solid Black middle class. This is like, just a couple of decades removed from the Civil War, right? Matter of fact, the governor of the time of North Carolina was a former Confederate. I think it was a former Confederate general, but he served in the Confederacy. But the government of Wilmington was ran. It was a fusion government. So you had Black Republicans or Black people working with white people who's like-minded in terms of mutual progress. You know what I'm saying? So they worked together. But it was the outer power Democrats, the Democrats, the ones y'all love so much to death, literally to death. They were upset that Black folks had all these shiny things, had all this money, had all this real estate. So the outer power Democrats overthrew the elected government of Wilmington, ran all the Black people out, killed a lot of Black people, ran a lot of Black people out of the city. They left their land, left their businesses, left their thriving businesses, left their abundant land, and they got ran out, and nobody did anything about it. It made national news, so the president of the United States knew about it. The governor said he was kidnapped in the governor's mansion. He was not allowed to leave by the insurrectionists, supposedly. That's why he couldn't do anything. But nobody sent in federal troops. Nothing happened. So to me, when people talk about Plessy v. Ferguson, okay, separate but equal and all that stuff, that ruling, that's the start. Now, the real start of what we endured for the majority of the 20th century started in Wilmington in 1898. I think the last Black person to represent the state of North Carolina was George White, I believe, in Congress. He was a Black guy. He left office, I believe, in 1901. So it took North Carolina until the early 1990s to get another Black person to represent the state in Congress. It's almost 100 years. And guess who's from Wilmington, North Carolina? Arguably the greatest basketball player of all time, Michael Jordan. So Michael Jordan grew up in what is known as a sundown town. So this place and produces a Michael Jordan. This is also the same birthplace, I believe, of David Walker, who wrote the appeal to the colored citizens of the world back in the 19th century. Very impactful. Some people believe that the appeal was an inspiration for the Nat Turner rebellion in Virginia back in 1831. I believe it was 1831. So this is what we're dealing with. This is the country. So like the state of North Carolina, a lot of y'all think it's so progressive, Charlotte and all that, and Asheville, I think it's Asheville, but they have this ugly past that they had spent 6 years looking into. Like I think Dr. John Hope Franklin, a great historian, he was on a panel of people or committee looking into the impact of the 1898 Wilmington, North Carolina insurrection. and it was a 6-year exhaustive study. I think they got some things come out of it, but really give the descendants of the people that got ran out of there back their land. That's one thing they could do, but we don't have people that advocate. It's always like when it comes to Black Americans' grief, we got to do a study. We don't know how reparations work. There's a website somebody shared with me. I don't have the link right now, but I'll talk about it or share it. What it shows all the reparations that the United States paid out to people, the different groups over the years, like all the groups that got paid reparations over the last, I guess, century or so. And why is it that everybody else can get reparations, but Black people can't get, Black Americans can't get reparations? Because we don't have nobody advocate for us. You know, we got people that are millionaires and some billionaires. Ain't none of them put together a lobby or group that advocates for Black Americans. Nobody. They ain't donations. George Soros got what he got. That's one billionaire. Y'all talking about George Soros is a, emperor of evil, and yet he's one billionaire able to get. He put $40 million into the Ferguson side. I'm gonna call it SAL because that's when Black Lives Matter, as y'all know, it was born, and it was a SAL. And George Soros put about almost $40 million into that, and he decided who the leaders would be. You look at now like that. It really was a rainbow agenda as well too. Because look at the leadership of the so-called Black Lives Matter or Black Lesbians Matter. No disrespect, but you even look at the guy D. Ray McKesson. I think his name D. Ray, right? D. Ray McKesson. The guy used to wear like the vest thing, whatever. It made him to a hero, a social media star, and a darling of the left. He was invited to the White House with a couple other people, but you had people like Darren Seals, King D, who was really out there in the streets, organizing, advocating. Like he would probably been a Black Panther back in the day with Fred Hampton and Mark Clark and all them guys. He was doing the work of the people, and they found him burnt out in a car. He was shot to death and burnt and set on fire in his car, 29 years old. And nobody talks about King D like they should. Because you got, people, Corey Bush, he benefited from the Ferguson South, and some other people. I mean, like they had their 15 minutes of fame. Some people were able to stretch that 15 minutes to an actual career for themselves. But I was there on the ground observing and documenting and interviewing people. And you found out later, what's weird is that I think the governor of Missouri, I call it Missouri, I think it was Jay Nixon. I think his name was Jay Nixon. And, Obama was the president of the United States, right? And Eric Holder was the top cop, attorney general, right, of the United States. Yeah, it was Jay Nixon. Don't you know that they were using chemicals? Law enforcement was using chemicals against the protesters that were outlawed by the Geneva Convention. Let me repeat that. Law enforcement were using chemicals that was outlawed by the Geneva Convention against American citizens. Obama did not say nothing, did not say a mumbling, rapping word. Eric Holder is a joke. He did not do anything. He talked that big talk about if we don't deal with the issue of race, we're a nation of cowards. Well, you are Courage the Cowardly Dog, sir. You are Courage the Cowardly Dog because you did nothing. Y'all did nothing. And y'all want to blame Trump for killing the Black folks when Black folks been dying for centuries in this country. Before Donald Trump was even conceived, before his parents were conceived, you want to blame this man for all the Black grief. And yet Obama did nothing. He had a damn beer summit. He said the right thing when Skip Gates was violated at his home, that the police acted stupidly, and then he walked it back. And let's have a beer. So you already knew when he did that, that set the tone for what's to come. And I'm tired of people telling me, well, he was Black. He's not really Black like that. They not like us. They not like us. They not like us. I remember when he was running the first time, it was really weird. It's how psyops are real. People don't be thinking. It was a thing going around. Obama's not Black enough to be president. I don't know if y'all remember that. I remember that because I started blogging. I started doing podcasting around that time. So I would have people on my show say, so why are they saying Obama's not Black enough to be president? What president has ever been Black enough? And so it was like an invention because basically I guess he was saying that Obama's not traditional Black. He's an exotic Black because he was born in Hawaii and He grew up in Indonesia. His mom was white. His daddy's Kenyan. Now his daddy is actually a dude from Chicago, in Atlanta or whatever. He's a Black American dude. I believe that his daddy was a Black man from America, but that's another story. But he's not like us. They not like us. He's like a Drake. He's a colonizer, I guess. No disrespect to Drake. I like Drake. But it was saying he's not Black enough to be president. I said, when has there ever been a criteria in order to be United States president, you got to be Black, a certain percentage of Black? That's weird. And people was running with it. And people were so pro Hillary at that time. Then media stopped working on people, massaging people's brain. Oh, we Obama this, Obama that. He's the savior, all that stuff. And now in hindsight, man, I would never have voted for that man at all. And here we are now. Well, y'all act like everything when Trump got in the office, it made everything worse. Now, when Trump got in the office, it made everybody transparent in how they felt about each other and about certain things. He created a space of transparency, whether you like it or not. And like I said, a lot of times when you deal with our people, you got to be perceived as a villain. When you want to help Black people, you got to be willing to play the role or be perceived as a villain. Not necessarily doing evil things, but be perceived as somebody who's a discredit to his race, who don't believe and love Black people. Because you can't get nothing done with our people. Our people, in terms of if you don't do that, if you don't play that tough love role, you don't get nothing. Whitney Young, people thought he was a sellout. This man did a lot to help Black people that we forgot how to do it. Fannie Lou Hamer didn't have a college degree. I don't even know she had a high school degree. She was the youngest of 20 kids by her parents. And yet she didn't know she could vote until she was in her early 40s. And once she figured out that she had rights, she fought to the day she died to secure rights and freedom for not only herself, but also her people. We was closer to Black liberation 50 years ago than we are now. So how's that progress when we were closer to where we wanted to be or where we thought we wanted to be than we are now? Like, back in the day, back in the 60s and stuff, people talking about it was struggling hard times. And I'm saying the government or America was experiencing one of the biggest economic expansion booms in the history of the country. You had people that, like I said, North Memphis, you go to Manassas High School, you drop out Manassas High School, you can walk across the street and get a job at Firestone. You know what I'm saying? Work that job for 40 years, raise a family of 4, wife could stay at home, take care of the household, raise the kids. Kids can go to college on the money you make, retire with a good pension. So how was that really all terrible? And then all you doing is living among your own people. You why would you want to go places where you're not celebrated, not even tolerated? That don't even make sense because the number one rule in nature is self-preservation. Why would you want to go in a place where you lay your head worrying if somebody going to throw a bomb into your home or set your home on fire or do some other horror or poison your pets? Why would you want to be in a situation? It's kind of weird we are the people. That's Stockholm syndrome. White folks told us, color only, whites only. Whites knew they were sick. That's why stay away, Black people. You don't want to be around us. Keep to your own. But anyway, I digress. But like with the Trump thing, like that's about the red line and stuff like that. Trump, David Hilliard, one of the co-founding members of the Black Panther Party out in Oakland, out in the Bay Area, he recently went woke viral for saying that he liked Donald Trump. He loved Donald Trump. I ain't gonna put no words in. Basically, he respects Donald Trump. Donald Trump back in the day helped the Black Panthers secure housing in New York City. At the time, they were looking for a place to operate in Harlem. And Donald Trump, he was basically saying he was like the slumlord, or I'm saying slumlord because New York, he was he owned a lot of real estate in Harlem. And he gave the Black Panther Party a good deal on securing some type of housing, whatever, in Harlem. And he spoke about that to a vlogger, and it went viral. And then I think his grandson came out and saying that that was not an endorsement of Donald Trump or any candidate that his granddad is seen now or suffer with dementia or some shit. But he doubled down. Matter of fact, David Hewlett said, yeah, he helped us. And matter of fact, he gave a name of a person they could contact to verify that it was true that Donald Trump helped the Black Panther Party secure housing in New York City back in the day. And you hear stories, or I heard stories about Donald Trump helping Black business people behind the scenes. So my thing is, I rather deal with Donald Trump because Joe Biden's a Klansman. And he proved it because he did a eulogy of Robert Byrd, the former U.S. Senator who lived to be almost 100 years old. He was an imperial wizard, I believe, of West Virginia, a Democrat. The people that trained Joe Biden, Faubus of Arkansas, the governor of Arkansas, John Stennis and James Eastland, powerful U.S. senators from Mississippi. Strom Thurmond, we all know about Strom Thurmond. He got that mixed race daughter that came out after he passed on, but people in South Carolina knew he had a mixed daughter that he was taking care of behind the scenes. They say he had an affair with his maid. Yeah, sure it was an affair. I'm sure it was like, consensual. Maybe it was. I mean, what? But he was in a position of power. That's like, that's a conflict. That's unethical, to do that. But it's human nature. But I don't know. Maybe it was like a Thomas Jefferson, Sally Hemings situation. But anyway, I digress. But these are the people that trained Joe Biden. And you look at the stuff he said when he was a younger person. He didn't want his kids, going to school in the jungle. What's that about, people? And Delaware is the South. Like Malcolm X said, anything south of Delaware anything south of Canada is Mississippi. And so Biden showed you with the crime bills. Biden just showed you when he disrespected their sister that was waiting to be acknowledged by him. He just basically jumped over her and went to, I don't know, white or Mexican. I don't know who that. Like, it wasn't a Black person that he took a selfie with and all that and embraced. But that sister was looking like she needed some love. And really, she symbolizes Black America. We looking for love in all the wrong places and spaces. So the thing about Biden, what they doing to him is elder abuse. No doubt about it, it's elder abuse. And these people need to be stopped. And one way to do it is to get Trump back in the office. And my thing, it's my hope, well, even Trump, because I believe he want to do right by Black people, but you got to have the right Black people around him or Black person who actually have the interest of Black America. And somebody like a Frederick Douglass, we don't have that no more. Jesse Jackson was the closest thing to a Frederick Douglass in my lifetime. And we crap on Jesse and we talking about, King, our government was killed by King. The gun that killed King came from the FBI. Jesse ain't had that type of power to green light a sophisticated conspiracy like that. So my thing is, it's crazy. Even Project 2025. Let's talk about that, and I'm gonna close it out. I think I talked enough about the debate, right? And y'all got all these people talking about it. Let's say that Trump is Kendrick Lamar, Joe Biden is Drake. They not like us, but they not like us. None of them like. And I say that like I know Kendrick is not Trump. Okay, y'all gonna he said that Trump is Kendrick. No, I'm just saying, like, if you look at it, because y'all like the pop culture and y'all like entertainment and bread and circuses, I'm just putting it on that level. But the Project 2025 thing is a joke. It's a joke to me that people, y'all make this big deal. Like my timeline and my social media flooded with people talking about Project 2025, he's going to get rid of the Department of Education. I mean, the Department of Miseducation. The Department of Miseducation, they're going to eliminate that? Good. Because my problem is, Department of Education, you got kids graduating from high school. They can't read or write or do simple arithmetic. I go to fast food restaurants and whatever. I'm afraid to give the young person at the cash register any type of money, dollars and stuff like that. Money you can fold, change you could jingle, because they don't know how to count. They can't do simple arithmetic. I was recently at a burger place, and I hesitate giving this sister change. Like I tried, the food cost, but I forgot how much it cost. I didn't forget. Okay. But anyway, she gave me not incorrect amount of money back. Like, it was simple. She owed me 70 cents. She owed me 70 cents, but she only gave me back 55 cents. She was like struggling on counting and stuff. So I talked to her manager. I said, look, your employee shorted me some money. I know y'all think, oh, it's just 15 cents, but like, think about it. Think about how many transactions she has done over that day, or how long she been there. She's cheating herself. She cheating. She cheating the customer, cheating herself. She should be. She should know how to do simple arithmetic. She doesn't, and I'm not. And she's not stupid. I'm sure that but she's like, it's this phenomenon in these schools, public schools, called social promotion, where if you just be quiet and sit in the corner, don't ask no questions, we'll pass you. We know you kind of slow, you don't know how, but if you just be a good kid and shut up and don't say nothing, don't start nothing, we'll pass you. So that's what they've been doing to a lot of our children. So you got a situation where people are graduating from high school, that if they decide to go to college, they got to take remedial courses in math and English. I actually met a young brother, a very smart young brother, who's now an engineer at a very respected place. He's a product of public schools in Memphis. Um, he went to college locally here, and he decided he wanted to become an engineer, but he was so terrible at math that he had to take remedial math his freshman year. He had to take remedial math. So, but he had a passion. He wanted to better himself. See, he came from a family where both his parents, they didn't go to college, but they made sure that their three children went to college. So his brother's well educated, his sister's well educated, and he's well educated. But when he started his collegiate career, he had a deficit in mathematics, simple math. So he worked with his instructors, his professors at the class and office hours. And instead of him going to parties, he hit the library and studied and all that other stuff. And now he's an engineer making good money. But like he said, I said, you wasn't stupid. They didn't take the time to show you anything. They didn't invest in you. Like, they dismiss you, because he was an athlete too. He was a baseball player, but he decided he wanted to become an engineer instead of going to professional sports. And so, but think about how many kids are like that right now in the school system, or just graduated. They have the ability, but they've been denied access to the right resources, or teaching methodology. It has been looked over. And that's how they do our kids. It's like, if they teach the kids correctly, you don't have to recruit from outside the country. The talent, you got talent here. Just like in the prisons, you got so much talent that's being warehoused for nefarious profit. Prison, you got a lot of intelligent, ingenuous, creative people in prison, and really the country is suffering because they're not allowed to utilize their talents for the greater good. We're at a deficit when you don't when you neglect, uh maliciously, willfully neglect people that can contribute to the quality of the country, quality of life. Joe Biden policies, the things he passed as a senator, has done more damage to black people than anything y'all can think about as it relates to Donald Trump. And for him to be rewarded with almost 100% black voter support is ridiculous, and show that we are lost as a people, and that we don't want nothing. It's kind of like James Clyburn. I remember when Joe Biden won in 2020, and Clyburn, one of his top advocates or surrogates, they call them surrogates, right? When they support, they interviewed him, and he was beaming like Uncle Remus. He like, it was like, what Representative Clyburn. So, you helped Joe Biden secure South Carolina in the primary. Had you not did that, he would not have been president. He would not be president elect. So what do you want from Joe for your show of faith and commitment? He said, I don't need nothing from Joe. I got everything I need. I'm just happy. Negro, you from South Carolina. Ain't your people suffering? Ain't black folks suffering everywhere? He couldn't ask for no reparations or suggested, Joe, hey, can you help those descendants of the veterans who denied, access to the benefits of the GI Bill? Reparations. There's a lot of stuff he could have said. But he said, I don't want nothing. He ain't get nothing. He ain't get no special appointment or nothing. And y'all, I like that's progress. You Negroes kill me. Y'all ain't gonna kill me. I ain't gonna allow it. I take that back. I'm gonna enjoy my ride. I'm gonna enjoy voting for Trump a third time in the state that he will win. And You know, people, oh, well, you're a Trump supporter. I support my people by any means necessary. How about that? Democrats, Malcolm warned y'all about Democrats. We got the 100th anniversary of his birth coming up next year. Malcolm did his best to warn us about the Democrats, and y'all didn't listen. Y'all never listened to none of his speeches, really. Y'all just take the rhetoric, like, and the memes and stuff, by any means necessary. Y'all take that, anything that sounds radical and aggressive. But to actually listen to what Brother Malcolm was putting down the last 2 years of his life about the Democratic Party, about the American political process, it fell on deaf ears because, it's weird that to think that we were more politically sophisticated 60 years ago than we are now as Black people. And then they had problems too. Cause I remember reading a Jet magazine online after President JFK was assassinated. They actually had a topic of discussion for that Jet magazine edition. Should we suspend the civil rights movement? Should we stop, advocating for ourselves since the president got killed? You had a serious discussion about, why are you going to stop because a white man get killed? Did the President Kennedy stop being president when the 4 little girls got killed? Or did Eisenhower stop being president when Emmett Till was kidnapped and killed? Come on, y'all. And luckily, they had no sense not to stop the movement because of President Kennedy got killed. I mean, Dr. John Henry Clark said it best: bury the man and continue to plan. So with that said, I just we don't play smart. But anyway, even with Memphis, I think I'm gonna close out with that. I could talk all night long, all night, all night, all night long, all night. Okay, but they say Memphis now is the blackest city in America. My thing is Memphis is more like Candyland from Django than it is Wakanda. Even Memphis, we have a problem. The city government and the county government of Shelby does not give out a lot of contracts to Black-owned businesses. And I talked to it with Judge, and Judge said, well, this business, Judge, they got to be given a chance to build their reputation, to get the experience, so they could be respected like the white-owned corporation businesses, right? If you're not giving them a chance to excel or to prove themselves, how they ever going to get anything? And if you giving less than 1% of your contracts to Black businesses, I ain't talking about minority. Yeah, you said, because white women are considered minorities. They not, and they not minorities. They not like us. They not like us. They not like us. Okay, but yet they get the benefits of affirmative action, of being classified as minority. It's like just being the white man's bottom bitch. That's what that is. And so if you're not, how can you have the blackest city and not have no Black power? And what I mean by Black power, I mean unity and solidarity. It's not about discrimination. It's not about hate. It's about unity, solidarity, and love. One love. White power, the way the system is ran, is on white power. It's divide and conquer. They keep power by keeping us divided against each other. That's how that works. Go back to Bacon's Rebellion when they were trying to unify everybody to get piece of American pie. And so what they end up doing, the powers that think they divided and conquered everybody. They gave one group certain privileges and denied the other group certain privileges. So they was at each other next for generations to come. So look up Bacon's Rebellion. But the thing about all this is that I won't be bragging about that, by being the blackest city. If you don't have Black power, if you don't have Black wealth, if you don't have a Black middle class, I always tell people, you want to know if you're middle class or not in Memphis, go to a Memphis Grizzly game. Can you afford to be there? Can you afford the food at the concession stand? Can you afford souvenirs for a family of 4? If you cannot go to a Grizzly game comfortably and be able to get the concession, the food, the souvenirs, even the parking space, afford to pay for a parking space, then you're not middle class. You're not middle class. If you like, if I go to this game tonight, would I be able to pay my light bill, my rent tomorrow? You're not middle class. So we don't have leaders. Now we got a Black mayor named Paul Young. He's a young guy. He might, he around my age, whatever. But he's already bought and paid for. like I told him, and I like Paul and his family personally. I have no problem with Paul. I have no personal animus against Paul Young. I have no problems with him. He has a beautiful family. You know, his father was a well-respected minister and black therapist in the community. He did some very innovative things when it comes to mental health treatment for black people. That's his father, his mom, his brother. They active in the church. Thing about it is, like I told him when he was campaigning at Lamar Owen back in 2023, I met him March 2023 in Lamar Owen. I met him before that. It was a white man that introduced me to him. The white man was like, "Ooh, oh, like, brother Ron, you got to meet Paul Young." Yeah. So when they love you like that, you in their pocket. You know, I learned like some white folks like me, they don't love me. They like me or they respect me. But when they start going all Google, oh yeah, he's the one, man. You got to know about him. Yeah, I should knew something was up. But I told him, Paul, you took too much money from them people, man. You can't tell them no. He said, yes, I can. I can tell them no. I tell them no behind. No, I said, no, Paul. They killed Dr. King for less, man. They killed presidents in this country for less. So no, you ain't gonna be able to tell them no because you in their pocket. And that's okay, you know, because he actually, I did a little impromptu interview. I wish I recorded it, but you know, I just did an impromptu. And he knew his stuff because he used to be over the housing development, community housing. He was appointed by Jim Strickland, the previous mayor, and he's Strickland guy. You know what I'm saying? Strickland, I feel like still calling the strings or pulling the strings as dean of law school at the University of Memphis. That he still got access to City Hall because Police Chief Davis was his appointment. He appointed Police Chief Davis, and you know Tyree Nichols thing happened. And quite frankly, she should not be the police chief of Memphis right now, or police commissioner, whatever you want to call it. She should be somewhere enjoying her, you know, retirement for all that money she making. But and the fact that he didn't get rid of her, I would have got rid of Police Chief Davis before I got sworn in. And he didn't do that. That let you know he's not his own person. I'm sure that when Elon Musk decided he wanted to have his supercomputer in Memphis, he did not consult Paul Young. That was probably something already in play. And that's just disrespectful to me because I'm the mayor. I'm gonna make you respect my office. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna do things that gonna help people because my thing is this: like, if you're a real public servant, you're not in it trying to make yourself wealthy. You in it trying to make things better for everybody. You want everybody to have a rich life experience. So as mayor, if you're not doing that, because like Paul Young also, he was over the downtown commission. So he probably got some investments in real estate, development, construction, all that stuff. And that's okay. I'm not saying you can't, you know, make money for yourself and for your family. What I'm saying is when y'all put real estate and other stuff like that over real people, there's a problem. And I look at this city. The city is a great city. It should be the mecca of Black America. I remember I talked to Reverend C.T. Vivian, one of Dr. King's closest lieutenants, the Rights Reverend C.T. Vivian. He said, Ron, back in the day, we used to see Memphis as the capital of the Mississippi Delta. We saw Memphis as the capital of the Mississippi Delta. And he said the reason why, because like when the Mississippi government was stopping Black entrepreneurs who were active in the movement from getting securing bank loans for their businesses, try to, no, because people don't understand like lynching, a lot of lynchings that happened were a lot of people that were killed were Black business people, not or people that ran or held office or running for office, but Black business people. Lynchings was a scare tactic to keep Black folks from owning anything, from prospering in business. You got stories. I'm sure you got stories in your family you're not even aware of. You know, why y'all in Chicago, why y'all in Detroit. I can remember Chris Webber dad, who's from Tunica County, Mississippi. My people from Tunica. His dad said the reason why he left Mississippi, I read this in an article years ago. The reason why he left Mississippi because his best friend was lynched in Tunica. So he left Mississippi. And if he didn't leave Mississippi, we wouldn't have no Chris Webber. You know, so he had to leave. And you got stories of the Williams sisters' dad. You know, he grew up in Louisiana. He talked about how a friend was lynched for stealing a chicken, I believe, in his book. So this is not 100 years ago. This is 60, 60 something years, 50 something years ago. You know, so this stuff is still happening. We don't have nobody to advocate for us. It's sad. It really is sad. It's very telling. But yeah, but like most of those lynchings were about keeping black folks out of business. I mean, Ida B. Wells' best friend Thomas Moss and his two business partners were killed lynching at the curb. Ida B. Wells, said that his last words, or the newspaper said his last words were, "Tell my people to go west because there's no justice for them here." So Ida B. Wells echoed that sentiment, and she encouraged black folks to leave Memphis. About 6,000 black people left Memphis and settled in Indian territory known as Oklahoma. I believe Robert Church Sr. gave the seed money to start what is now known as Black Wall Street. Robert Church was the first black millionaire of the South. Very powerful man in Memphis. I was looking out. I said, Joe Washington had 50,000 pounds on his head in England. I mean, they broke the law, man. Basically, what people don't understand. Oh, Donald Trump broke the law. I said, so did George Washington and Thomas Jefferson and all them guys. It's the American way, baby. And Joe Kennedy once said, the patriarch of the Kennedy family, it's only a crime if you get caught. And I remember reading about when Franklin Roosevelt made him the first chairman of the Security Exchange Commission. This is during the Great Depression when FDR became the president. They had the stock market crash. Was 1929. A lot of people lost stuff. You had folks jumping out of skyscrapers in New York and stuff. And so they made Joe Kennedy the first chairman of the SEC. And some of his supporters said, why would you make Joe Kennedy the chairman of the Security Exchange Commission when he was one of the biggest inside traders of all time? Like, he made a lot of money in ethical ways. And FDR said basically, it takes a crook to catch a crook. So that's the American way. Thank you, Sister Yvette, for your support. We love you madly. I think I'm gonna wrap it up. I've been on here for 2 hours. I can still go on, y'all, on and on and on and on. But I think I gave y'all enough. But like, well, Biden, he ain't the right look for black folks in 2024. And if it takes me being ridiculed and stuff like that by black folk because I love my people, then so be it. And so be it. Because like I said, Ivy Wells looked like a villain to some black people. I mean, she got ran out the school system in Memphis because she complained too loudly about the working conditions for the teachers and students. And it was not on the same level as the white teachers and students. And so the black folks ran it out the school system and the white folks ran it out the South for telling the truth about the nature of these lynchings. So, I mean, it's a lot to process. But I'm going to close this thing out. Let's see. I'm going to close it out for tonight. And don't be surprised if I do another show very soon. But I think I talked enough. I'm like, you got me going in circles. It's a lot to talk about, man. There's a lot to talk about. But say that for the next show. But the thing about it is this. We got to have the ability to finance and run our own candidates, Black America, or in your local community. We got to get like-minded individuals together to create a trust or something, a group, a lobby that we screen and select the representatives of our leadership. Because really, the mayor is not the leader. And the thing about it is about the mayor of Memphis, for example, he didn't even get 30% of the vote. So the people did not put him in that position. The people that gave him $1 million plus, the white families that run Memphis, the corporations, it's a plantation town. They put him in that position to be mayor. The people did not put him in that position to be mayor. So if he got over 50% of the vote, then I can say, oh yeah, it's the people's will. But it wasn't the people's will. It was the powers that think they be will to have that man here at this time, at this appointed time and place in history. So what I'm saying is Black folks, instead of you shaming, because I don't know any other group that gets shamed for voting or not voting like black people. Mexicans, Chinese, nobody else gets shamed for not voting like black people. Like black people, we treated like kids. We treated like infants. It's time for us to grow up. It's time for us to break this arrested development curse when it comes to politics and attaining power. We got to stop this. You can't worry about what people think about you. I have learned that what people think about me ain't my business. It's not my business to be concerned with what people think about me. My business is to take care of me to the best of my abilities, to get leverage out of my talents, to be able to stand on business and to take care of business the best way I know how and I see fit for me, myself, and for those who I love, who are willing to work with me. But we got to learn how to do that. When y'all say, well, why he ain't doing this for us? Well, did you donate to the campaign? Did you talk to him? Did you invest anything in this man or woman as they ascended to power? See, so why did they answer to you if you didn't give no money, if you didn't do anything for them to help them get to that power level where they at? People say, well, I can't get a contract. Well, you got to pay to play, right? Donald Trump understood that. You got to pay to play. And y'all say he a bad businessman, but like he said at one of these debates the first time around, I filed for bankruptcy, but I didn't file for no personal bankruptcy. It was like to protect my business interest. My family still ate, and he's a billionaire to this day. His family doing all right. So my thing is, but he said the game is rigged. He never said it wasn't rigged in favor of him. He letting y'all know, look, I'm a part of the thing too. It's rigged, but you know what? I want to do things different now. I see my country is suffering. I'm a patriot, and I want to help out the American people. And I would rather give him another term than Joe Biden another term. That's crazy. And y'all talking about some Robert Kennedy Jr. Y'all really hate Trump that much. I don't think, no disrespect to Robert Kennedy Jr. Maybe you could appoint him as the health secretary or something like that. So you have to make it, we'll see. We'll see. Time will tell. 2024 is very interesting, but we got to get more savvy in how we do things. I remember I used to go down to Mississippi a lot, and when I go to Jackson, I would try to make it my business as often as I can to stop by the radio station down there where Charles Evers held court. Charles Evers is the big brother of Mega Evers, one of my heroes. Charles Evers is a hero of mine. He was one of my favorite people from the civil rights movement because he was a maverick. He was his own person. He didn't let a popular opinion or people opinions of him stop him from being who he was, unapologetically him. And it's a beautiful thing. And he told me about Dr. King. He had a story about Dr. King. And he said, well, Ron, when Dr. King used to come to Mississippi to Jackson, he used to run, not walk to my house. He said, Charles, I feel so comfortable in your home because you got all the guns and goons. And then Charles Evans reached into his desk and pulled out a gun, a little small gun. He said, Ron, one thing I believe in, or the three things I believe in are the 3 G's: God, guns, and goons. And he lived to be 98 years young. He almost made it to 100. They got his brother at 37, but one thing Charles ever knew, he knew the power of organizing on the street level as well as in the office. Like he was able to move in certain spaces that a lot of us would find ourselves in a lot of trouble because, like he said, he had the goon squad. People forget Charles Evans was in Chicago when his brother was killed in Mississippi, and Charles Evans was a gangster. He was a Chicago dude. He did. I think he took on the mob. He dealt with the mob and all that stuff. Some people say he was a pimp, or allegedly. The man was a World War II veteran, like his brother. I mean, he had some big ones. So when he came back to Mississippi, he actually had checked in some rifle, guns, whatever on the plane trip. Now you can't do that no more, I guess, unless you're the air marshal or something. But he actually had guns on the plane with him going back to Memphis. Going back to Jackson. You know what I'm saying? His plan was to kill the people who killed his brother. But he ended up staying there, and he replaced his brother as the field secretary for the NAACP down in Mississippi. He ended up getting elected mayor. I would say the first black mayor of a town since Reconstruction. Now, I thought that was interesting because you got Mound Bayou that been there for a while. But I guess they were saying he was the first black mayor of a town that was integrated or mixed or whatever. I don't know. It's back in '69, I believe. So, at times he was a Democrat, other times independent, other times Republican. He was a man of his own mind. So my thing is, we need to learn politics 101. And it's very important that we learn. We got to learn. We're going to learn one way or the other. A loss is not a loss if you learn. You know what I'm saying? A loss is not a loss if you learn. So I guess that's it. Thank y'all so much for your patience. In the words of Duke Ellington, we love you madly. Y'all can support this piece of how you support We All Be. You make a donation, Cash App, $R2C2H2, PayPal, Google Pay, Zelle, R2C2H2 at gmail.com, Vimo at R2C2H2, Apple Cash, 901-299-4355, or join us on patreon.com / We All Be. That's one way. Then another way, of course. Let's see. I can't believe 2 hours went by fast. Trying to see. Hopefully this pop up. Yeah, go my Spring Yard. Go to Spring Yard. Check us out. Got all this art. Brother Ron Hurt artwork. I'm gonna post that in the chat. The link to Spring Yard. Check it out. You buy art of his art, man. Check it out. Check it out. There you go to Spring. I think that's the third page, but you go there, R2C2H2 place, buy you some art of his art. Set you up. Do you right, man. Do you right. Sure enough. Some good stuff there. Scroll down. All that stuff. Even got coffee mugs. Check it out. That's third. Let's go to the first page. Tupac hoodie. Pop, pop, pop. My granddaddy. Soldier Boy grip. Soldier Boy tell it. Got all this good artwork. Johnny Ace. The late, great Johnny Ace. See, I'm not only giving you good artwork, but also good stories behind the art based on our history. Preserving our history. Black Jack Johnson. There you go. Black Jack. First heavyweight. Yeah, so y'all can support that if y'all want to, buy some of my art, buy it. And also I'm working on the website, the official website, getting redone, R2C2H2.com. Gotta redo it. But anyway. I would see. Yeah. Okay. Well, Delaware is one of those states where you could do shell companies and stuff. Like you could file for LLCs or something like that. So it makes sense that he probably held that. So I'm glad, I'm blessed that, educated people watch this show, people that are well informed or they want to be well informed and they advocates for freedom of speech and dissemination of truth and facts and not works of fiction all the time. Even though they could be entertaining, they could be misleading, the things they put out. But let me okay, I'm gonna shut it down. Thank y'all so much. Love y'all so much. And y'all don't even have an idea. I have no idea. But knowledge is the currency of the universe. Never forget that. And disclaimer, the views expressed by hosts and guests on the We All Be TV platform are not the official views, opinions, beliefs, or perspectives of We All Be News or the We All Be Group Incorporated. We All Be News is an organization that thoroughly believes in supplementing the information narrative that is usually supplied by the corporate news entities with those viewpoints and expressions which may be marginalized or ignored for a plethora of reasons. We are about informing the general public on alternative perspectives as it relates to news and information, and letting the general public be the ultimate judge in deciding on how to use said information. Informed citizens are responsible citizens. Thank you for your support. Thank y'all so much. Support by any means. We love you madly. Y'all keep on producing. And push on.